everyone, I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is Navigational Astrology. Today, we're going to talk about the asteroid Juno. We're going to talk about what she means in astrology, what it means through the signs, what it means through the houses, and some other places to look in your chart for a more complete interpretation. First, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. If you have not yet subscribed, please take a moment and click that little flower of life in the corner, and that way you won't miss a thing. I also have to apologize that this video is late. If you've been following my dailies, either here on YouTube in the community tab or on social media or in the Galactic Mystic forum, you will know that me and my family have been sick with the crud for a couple weeks now, and I just didn't really have much of a voice until now. So this is my well face and my well voice. It's good to see you. Okay, asteroid goddess Juno, mythology and astrology. So traditionally, and kind of at a real surface level, most of the time Juno is called the asteroid of marriage, but there's much more to her energy, of course. And so if that's as far as we look, if we just say, well, Juno represents who you're going to marry, we're missing a whole lot about ourselves and how we relate to others, what we need in order to commit. And by commitment, I don't just mean in romantic relationships. We as individuals have all kinds of commitments in our lives. And Juno speaks about those commitments that are, of course, some of them are romantic, but all the other types of commitments we have as well. Commitments to work, commitments to our children, commitments to ourselves, commitments to life. It's very nuanced, and there are a lot of levels to this. So let's talk about the mythology, the pathology, and what it means for us as individuals, depending on where Juno is in our natal chart. There are, of course, shadow themes that will come up, won't there be? Now, at this time, I want to mention that if you are interested in diving deeper into what Juno and some of the other asteroids mean in your astrology chart, follow the link below for the Major Asteroids Astrology Report, where you can get some eerily, and I'm talking eerily accurate information about your chart. We will look at the asteroids Juno, Vesta, Pallas Athena, Chiron, and Ceres. So this is the 4 major asteroids and Chiron report. We'll talk about the sign it's in your natal chart, the house placement, and the aspects. And it's in the aspects that some of the magic really reveals itself. You will be amazed. You will be surprised by how accurate this report is. It's really, really cool. In Greek mythology, Juno is Hera and Zeus is her counterpart. In Roman mythology, they are Juno and Jupiter. So as the queen of the gods, Juno / Hera, we assume that she was this powerful being with this glorious life. And while her archetypal energy is very potent and big and, queenish, there is a lot of shadow material here and a treasure trove of learning potential for us about ourselves. There are several myths about the marriage between Juno and Jupiter or Hera and Zeus. And in one of these myths, I'm going to call them Hera and Zeus from here on, just because for Greek mythology's sake, I always think of the mythology in Greek terms and so just stay with me. So Hera was walking through the forest, and Zeus caught a glimpse of her and was immediately impassioned and entranced with her beauty. And isn't that always how a bunch of nonsense starts in mythology? Every time. So Zeus shapeshifted into a cuckoo bird. And at that time, in this place, in this area of the world, the cuckoo bird was a symbol of fertility and had a connection to the rains that would fall, that would nourish the land and create an abundant harvest. Cuckoo bird was the bird that announced the rains were going to fall for that abundance. So Zeus transforms into a cuckoo bird and the rains come. So he gets all wet, and Hera sees this like cold, pitiful, shivering little cuckoo bird that is, a sacred bird at that time or in that culture. And she takes pity on him. She picks him up and she holds him, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry you got wet. And she's like being real sweet to him and trying to warm him up and being very compassionate and kind. So of course, this is the moment where Zeus transforms into his true form and rapes her, because it's mythology and somebody's always getting raped. So out of both shame and obligation, because, once you've given them your virginity at this time, they are technically your husband. So Hera agrees to marry him, and she goes a step beyond, though. She not only, she was in a crappy situation, right? This was forced upon her. She was trying to do the right thing and kind of save face. But in her choice, she chooses to marry him, to fully commit. And she's like puts her whole self into it. She forgives, she forgets, and she's like, all right, baby, you my man, we're going to do this thing together. She's fully committed to this union. So in another story about how they got together, it talks about that they were married in secret, and that this secret was kept for 300 years. And that the reason that it was kept secret for so long is because it took that long for the Hellenistic people to convert to monogamy, which is in astrology the type of marriage / commitment that Juno represents. It's monogamy, as the expression of realization of the self through one partner, ideally in a reciprocal commitment. So the zodiacal energies of Libra and Scorpio are tightly interwoven with Juno's themes in astrology. Libra being the sacred balance and truth of marriage and commitment to one person. Scorpio bringing in the desire for consummation. Now, there is, of course, a connection with Libra and Scorpio because, in essence, Libra gives birth to Scorpio. It's through the serene, lighthearted balance and beauty that Libra brings that the depth and intensity of Scorpio is born from. Scorpio is the next logical step from Libra. They are next to each other in the zodiac. So there is an inherent connection, but also friction. So Zeus and Hera, Juno and Jupiter, they did have a honeymoon phase. And during this time, there was actually a lot of love and passion between them, according to the Iliad, that is. And so let's quote the Iliad. This is Zeus speaking to his wife, Hera, on their honeymoon. Never has such desire for goddess or woman flooded and overwhelmed my heart. Never have I felt such love, such sweet desire as fills me now for you. That's some pillow talk. So that didn't last very long. Zeus, I guess after the shine wore off, Zeus was just flaunting his lovers and children he had with, other ladies all over the place. And even though he was doing this, Hera was still faithful to him. and committed. She would get very angry, very manipulative, very spiteful, though. And this is where the shadow side of Scorpio would rear its head. So it's literally because she was denied the equality of Libra that she responded with the shadow of Scorpio. And if you have ever been stung by a Scorpio, you know what they say and what they do. So she was angry, manipulative, spiteful, but faithful. She was denied the sacred sexual union and the goddess rights that she craved and were rightfully hers. And she was like saving for her man. So this is why, astrologically speaking, the asteroid Juno isn't only just about love and everything to do with commitment and our jealousies and what triggers them. We have this theme of withdrawal and, like I don't know if you know about the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I think it came out in the 90s, I think. I remember my parents reading it. I read it later. But the author talks about how women have this need to withdraw. He calls it going into the well, which is a very Scorpio type of space, a dark, watery cave. And so Hera did this repeatedly in order to cope with her situation. She would withdraw and hide for hundreds of years sometimes. And yet she always came back. Zeus would go through great lengths to draw her out of her hiding, even though he had no intention of giving her like the love and respect that she so desired and deserved as his wife. It's almost like he just wanted to toy with her. I don't know. Like one time he created this like elaborate situation where he announced that he was going to marry a local princess. And so on the day of the supposed wedding to him and this local princess, they put together this huge parade and it's very elaborate. It's a wedding of the gods. So you can imagine how elaborate this was. But the secret was that where the bride was supposed to be was just a statue that Zeus put a veil on. The whole thing was like a ruse to draw Hera out, and it worked. So here comes the parade coming down the street with, fanfare and all the things. And then here comes Hera with like her goddess tribe, and they like, crash this wedding party. She snatches the veil off the bride, thinking she's like, that's my man. That's my man you think you're marrying. And it's a wooden statue, which is, of course, made a fool of her, made a mockery of her. Like the crowd mocked her relentlessly, yet she still returned to him. The level of commitment, yet self-sacrifice, is astonishing. And here we bring in the shadow of Libra, the sacrifice of self to try and to like cut off pieces of yourself, thinking that is what will balance the scales. So she gave over all of his power to him and resented it completely, of course. So in astrology, she has much to say about these things in our individual lives. So a lot of times, many astrologers will say that the sign of Juno in your chart tells you the partner you want. But I find that's really not so simple. And it's much more about what you need in a partner and how you need to feel, like how you want to feel with your partner, what you need in order to commit even in the first place. So let's go through the houses first. We did the mythology. Now let's go through the natal houses of Juno in your natal chart. And you may feel more resonant with the sign or the house, maybe both, maybe one more than the other. So if you have Juno in your first house, This puts Juno close to your ascendant and quite possibly in the same sign as your ascendant. And this means that whatever you commit to is closely tied to your identity. And this can mean that your marriage, if you are married, or the act of being committed to a partner, that becomes a huge part of your identity and a big focal point in your life. These themes of marriage and commitment are generally very important to you, and your identity develops through relationship and through commitment. If you have Juno in your second house, you need to feel secure, safe. You need to believe in yourself in the relationship. The relationships you have, the commitments that you make tend to affect your self-worth. You have a strong commitment to relationship values, and you are probably quite loyal naturally, and you may find it hard to move on from relationships that aren't working. If you have Juno in your third house, you feel safe and close to your partner when communication is flowing smoothly, and you feel like you are in the same headspace as your partner. This also has to do with your commitments of other kinds, of course, and you may like to talk about your commitments or your partner a lot with others. And of course, your relationship needs. You also may be more comfortable shifting and altering your commitments more than other people. If you have Juno in the fourth house, your commitment to home life and creating roots and your connection to your ancestors is very strong, and you like to have a partner who shares that quality with you. Being domestic is a show of love, and you need in all of your commitments for your inner child to feel safe. You need to have this feeling of security, safety, and comfort in everything that you commit to. If you have Juno in your fifth house, you need to have fun in your commitments, in all of your commitments. You like to be romanced in your romantic relationships, of course, and being romantic, having fun in your commitments and in your partnerships creates more, you become more creative. You want to share hobbies with your partner. You want to entertain. You want to have nights on the town. You want to feel like you are more because of your commitment than you are individually. And this, of course, is not just romantic. In all of your commitments, you want to feel like you are more than you were without that commitment. Otherwise, you will lose your interest, will become drab and dull and suck the life out of you, and you will not be happy. Also, children are very important. In every commitment that you have, you will consider your children if you are a parent. Otherwise, the children in your life or having children could be a major focus. Juno in your sixth house, themes of service in your relationships and in your commitments. You need reliability, you need attention to details, and small things matter greatly. It is the small things that you appreciate in your commitments, and you need to be appreciated for the small things that you offer as well. If you are with a person, if your partner or your husband or wife or significant other has their Juno in the sixth house, please say thank you for the small things that they do. It will mean the world to them. If you have Juno in your seventh house, honestly, marriage and long-term commitment may be your ultimate goal, devotion to that track in your life, commitment to creating harmony in everything that you do, in all of your close relationships will be big time important. You need to be seen as an equal. You need for things to be fair in order to commit. If things feel like chaos or unpredictable, or just like, you know, if somebody's rude or you know, like this is a person, if someone with their Juno in 7th house, if you are on a date or you are eating out and you're rude to the server, this person's not going to like that. Don't be rude to your service people. It's a very unattractive quality. So Juno in the 8th house. If you have Juno in the 8th house, you must have a consistent sexual connection with your partner if it's a romantic commitment. In your other commitments, you need depth and intensity. You're not interested in surface level stuff. You do want to watch for power plays in yourself and in others. Often sexual connection is a transformative experience. There can be possession themes. Of course, that goes in with power plays. And also shared resources. You want to share with others, and it is in that sharing on all levels that will make you want to commit to anything in your life. Juno in the 9th house, spirituality or philosophical connection is very important to you to commit. It doesn't have to be religious, but you do need to have a similar like life philosophy in order to want to commit to someone. And you need someone who has a belief, who believes in something. Otherwise, you may not be interested in them. And you, of course, want to spend time outdoors. You like a big sky and you want to travel. So, of course, apply this to all the commitments in your life and you'll be on the right track. If you have Juno in the 10th house, your partnerships or your commitments in general benefit your career, social standing, or reputation. What happens with your commitments could affect you publicly, or your marriage could be, or your marriage or your commitments could be in the public eye. You could also, once you commit to something, you are married to it. And this can mean you are married to your job or your work. If you have Juno in the 11th house, you need to feel that you have room to breathe in order to commit. You do not want to be stifled. And honestly, you are the type that grows in commitment over time. So you might be a kind of wait and see type of person. And then, you have this thing where you want to be able to see down the road a little bit before you make any promises. And this is, of course, romantic or just in life. If you have Juno in the 12th house, your commitments are a major focus in your life. You might like a lot of privacy about your partner or the things that you are committed to, and you really need a deep spiritual connection in order to commit. It may require sacrifice, and there can be deep karmic and deep psychic connections to your spouse. If we're talking about commitments other than romantic, you might just like to be more private in general, and it is the transcendent or spiritual quality of a thing that attracts you to it in the first place. So through the signs, Juno can show the type of person you are attracted to as a partner, or how you need to be treated in order to commit. We're also going to talk about some shadow themes here. What triggers our jealousy? So if you have Juno in Aries, you really you like to commit to people and things that are explosive, active, assertive, self-sufficient, and not needy. And your jealousy can be triggered when you're feeling low on confidence, or when you're not sure of your direction, and when you're like not feeling solid in your self-actualization. If you have Juno in Taurus, you really like a partner who is stable, grounded, strong, is a really great hugger. You like pleasure, foods, hugs, sensuality, and your jealousy is triggered when your self-worth is low, or when your partner does not give consistent stability in romance, and also, when there's like a lack of belief in the relationship. If you have Juno in Gemini, you really want someone who is communicative, you like variety, you want an intellectual connection, you want someone with a sense of humor. It can indicate more than one marriage. Your jealousy is triggered when you feel like you're not able to communicate effectively with your partner, or they don't appreciate your natural curiosity in the way that you think. If you have Juno in Cancer, you want someone who is domestic, maybe a little clingy, maybe you're a little clingy, but you want to feel nurtured, you want to feel safe, you need a deep emotional connection, but you really need trust, and that tends to take time to build. Jealousy creeps up though when you're losing that feeling of belonging and safety. If you have Juno in Leo, you want to feel adored by your partner. You want to know that you are the best your partner ever had. So if you are dating someone who has, or dating or in a relationship with someone who has Leo Juno, tell them they're the best. They want to feel dignified in your relationship. And jealousy tends to arrive when they lose touch with their creative self, their authentic self, or their partner doesn't seem to adore them enough, isn't being lavish enough with them. If you have Juno in Virgo, you want someone to bring out the best in you. And you want someone who has attention to detail. You want to serve one another. You want to have a plan to constantly improve the connection. And it's that promise that it will always get better that makes you want to commit. Jealousy comes up when things feel out of control, or when it feels like it's never going to get better. Juno in Libra, beauty, charm, enjoyment. You want to enjoy each other's company. Children may not be the focus. This could be a love at first sight situation. You want to be equals. You want absolute reciprocity. The relationship can't feel heavy, and there has to be like good manners, like I said earlier with Libra. Jealousy happens when there's a loss of treating each other with respect, like those social graces. A loss of balance, or just a loss of focus on the relationship can make them kind of want to hit the door. Juno and Scorpio. You want passion, you want sexual depth, you want intimacy, mystery. You are attracted to people who are magnetic, and you want to be completely immersed. You want complete emergence in the relationship. Jealousy comes up when there's lack of a sexual connection. And then, that's when the tendencies to be secretive or manipulative come out. Juno in Sagittarius, you want a philosophical connection. You could be attracted to people who are very, very well educated. Your partner could be different from you in a lot of ways. You want freedom, though. You need that room to breathe. You cannot be, you feel stifled if you're with someone who wants to be together, joined at the hip. Jealousy tends to creep up when you don't have the freedom to express and explore. Or also when the philosophical ideas don't match up. That can make things go south. Juno in Capricorn, you want someone who is mature. You want someone who is responsible, who is solid, and maybe a little bit older than you. But a lot of times that just means you want someone who is really mature. You want someone who is ambitious, and you need those things to feel safe in the relationship and in order to commit. Jealousy comes up, though, when you lose sight of ambition or self-authority, or your partner doesn't appreciate or respect your need for these things and the things that you bring to the table, or the things they bring to the table, rather. Juno in Aquarius, you are attracted to freedom, independence, unconventional stuff, and intellectual connection. You need those things in order to commit. You want that in a partner, and you have that to offer. Jealousy themes come up, though, when you lose sight of the big picture or you feel confined, and also can be kind of a drag on the relationship if there is too much sentimentality, or if you're like really connected to your family and that's putting a strain on the relationship, that could be a no-go as well with Juno and Aquarius. If you have Juno and Pisces, these are themes of rescuing, of sacrifice. These are kind of chasey themes. This is fantasy, dreamy. You're looking for the ideal fantasy soulmate. You want that deep soul connection, the relationship. You want it to be an escape from regular life. You want a psychic connection with your partner. You do want to look out for things like, you want to make sure you have healthy boundaries and stuff like that. But jealousy comes up when you feel like you're not connected at a soul level. It can be just, it can really feel like there's something missing. So I hope you enjoyed this. What is your Juno sign and house? Let me know in the comments. Mine is in my 9th house and it's in Leo. So check out the 4 major asteroids and Chiron report in the link below for some really juicy details about your natal chart placements for Juno and a handful of other asteroids. Really cool report. And thanks for being here. I hope you're doing really well. Make sure you're following me on social media and that you have signed up to receive my newsletter. I post daily energy reports, daily astrology, both here on the community tab on YouTube, on my website, and on social media, Facebook and Instagram. See you next time.